Hey everyone, Chris again from Burgles Brewing, and today we're brewing. Stay tuned. Alright, so what are we brewing today? We're brewing what I'm calling my Belgian Pale Ale. It's basically a simple blonde ale recipe that I'm going to add some Caravien to give it a little bit of more Belgian characteristics, and then I'm throwing Almond Abbey at it. So, you know, I didn't want to get too in the weeds with the malts and all that. I just kind of want to see what the Abbey yeast is going to give me, because my hesitation a lot of times with brewing Belgian beers is that I don't know if the yeast is going to give me too much esters, too much phenols, you know, what it's going to do, how it's going to play with the hops. And so a brewery right up the road from me made a Belgian Golden Strong Ale, and for my palate it was like a perfectly balanced, got the nice balance of esters, phenols, had that, you know, the aroma, the finish in the mouth. It had everything that I was looking for. So I asked them what they used, and they said Abbey. So bought me some Almond Abbey, and let's see how it works. Let's get into it. All right, and here we go. We got a little Caravien malt, a little Viking Churro Extra Pale, and some Breeze Pale Ale malt. All right, we saw it in the bags. Now we got it all milled up. And we all love that, that first sniff. Almost like to run our hands through it, you know? There we go, 11 pounds of green, ready to go. Here we go. We're gonna go add the brewing salt to the mash water. All right, here we are. For this, I used 4 grams of gypsum, 3 grams of calcium chloride, and 1 gram of Epsom salt. Balanced profile, you know, a little bit on the sulfate side, hopefully trying to accentuate some dry crispness in this one. But there we go, it's all added. We'll give that a quick stir, and we'll let the mash water finish. Did forget to mention, as well as the brewing salt, I did add a half of a Camden tablet to my water. Even though I went through the RO filter, can't be too safe. Make sure you get those chlorine out of there, just in case. So now, I'm gonna show you a part of my process that I'm not super thrilled with, but I make it work. It's how I use the brew bag without the malt pipe. So we see, got the bag into my strike water. But look, the bag, it does not fit around the outside of the mash and boil. The bag was designed to fit around the malt pipe. So now, what do we do? I'll show you. I'll be right back. So, we have the little ring here, which the malt pipe is meant to sit on. I just kind of thread this strap through, like so. Grab myself a binder clip, and the left hand is probably not a good idea. Just clip it right there to there. So now, got a nice liner in here. It's not the best fit, it doesn't protect against everything, but it's the best I can do. So, now to dough in. And voila, we are all doughed in. I'm not quite pushing the boundaries of the system. I only got about 11 pounds of malt and about 6.5 gallons of water in here. How do I get this all doughed in? Now, I'll leave this lid on, covered, for about 10 minutes or so. Then I'll come back, check the pH, and start the recirculation. And we're back. It's been 10 minutes. Start the recirculation. Give the mash a little stir on top here. All right. Not too much, a little bit. And we're gonna leave that again for, I don't know, another 5-10 minutes. Probably let it recirculate for 5 minutes, come back, then I'll grab my pH sample, and then, you know, 5-10 minutes after that, I'll give it another stir. And we're taking the pH reading, 5.23. That's right about spot on, perfect. That's no lactic acid, that's nothing. That's just my grains and my brewing salt and my water. Another reason, as great as the water tools are in the brewing softwares, check your pH first before you add the lactic acid, because I've just been going off of that, and I think I've been having a problem with like low pHs giving me weird, you know, flavors kind of in finished product, being with a lower pH, being more close to a sour beer or like too dry. So yeah, check this out. I was supposed to, you know, if I wanted to get down to 5.23, the brewing software is telling me, you know, 2-3 milliliters of lactic acid. Again, That's no lactic acid in there. So 523, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna let it roll. I'm not adding anything else. I'm not gonna add baking soda back to it. We're gonna roll with 5.23. It's been about an hour. We're all done with the mash. I'm gonna pull this bag up in a second and you know, gonna get to it. But look, there's the vent, but there's no pulley. Yeah, it's all hand, arm, leg power on this one. Eventually I will get a pulley, but right now we're just kind of gonna hop up on this stool, hoist it out, and put it in that bucket right there. That's how we do it. All right, so I went 60 minutes today. I normally go somewhere between 30 and 45, but you know, I had some other stuff going on. I'm not gonna sweat it. I might get a couple extra gravity points that I wasn't expecting out of this, so take a quick sample just to see where we're at. A lot of times I find if I take the sample here before I pulled the bag and kind of got the solution all like homogenized, I get a different reading, so I just like to see where I'm at. Then I'll start it, and right before we hit boil again, I'll take another sample. And that gives me a better idea of what, you know, my starting gravity is. All right, and here we are up at the top of my stool here. The grain bag is all pulled out. Got this here. I'm going to give it a quick kind of stir and scrape along the bottom to make sure I don't have anything stuck to the bottom so the element doesn't scorch in. I really don't want those dreaded errors. I don't know if it's E3 or E4 in the master boil, but I've avoided it so far. I would like to continue that. So, right there, like a lot of the other brew in a bag guys, I do squeeze the hell out of my bag pretty good. I won't drain it completely, but I do give it a pretty good squeeze. So, you know, without a pulley, I did the best I could, kind of picking it up, spinning it, draining it with, you know, my muscles over the kettle. So now I dropped it in my bucket. I'm gonna give it another, you know, squeeze or two, just push down, see if I can get anything else out, and then let it drain. I'm not really too worried about it. I already got, you know, 5 3/4-ish gallons, which is, you know, for my 30-minute boils, exactly where I want to be then with 5.5. So I'm okay with it. Maybe I'll get another, you know, 1/4 gallon or so out of it, or, you know, a couple pints. Not too worried about it, so we'll squeeze, see what we get out. I'll give it a taste. If it's, you know, tasting funky to me, or maybe astringent or tannic, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, then maybe I won't use it, but I haven't had a problem so far, so I'll probably end up using it, get a little more beer out of it, so I'm not drawn off the tube in the fermenter. So I'm all done squeezing. You can see now I'm just under 6, so I did get a good amount more out of that after the squeeze. So, you know, what this is going to allow me to do is kind of take my gravity, see where I'm at. If I need to boil for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, I can. I prefer the half hour just to cut on time, and I'm brewing a Belgian, so no need to get too bitter, no need to get too caramelized, the Maillard reactions, no need to, you know, the extra hop addition. So pretty simple brew today. So I'm like to try to keep it to my normal 30 minutes, but take my gravity sample closer to when I reach boil and see where I'm at. All right, so we're taking our gravity reading, and I'm at 1050-ish, shooting for 1047. So we're just gonna throw those hops in. All right, here we go. We reached boil. So I'm just going to show you in here a little bit. There we go. That's pretty vigorous. And fog, steam, duh, glasses, should know that by now. But I'll say it's pretty vigorous there. You know, I'm running the master boil on 120, so I know 120, you know, it gets a lot of NOx, and yes, it is slow to heat up. It's maybe it doesn't boil as vigorously, but I don't know if it's the new outlet I got, you know, about a year ago, or if it's summer, so the basement kind of stays around 75 degrees with no air conditioning, so it, you know, heats up quicker, or gets a better boil, or what. But when I first got this, I definitely, you know, saw the 120 issues, but, you know, lately I've just been getting this beautiful, you know, pretty vigorous rolling boil. So I'm happy with it. You know, I like to switch to 240 maybe at some point to get quicker heat up times, of course, but I think for now this works. All right, so one more cool thing I found with the master boil. Now, this hop spider, this little guy right here, is too long to really sit on, you know, this or anywhere. So I just kind of wedge it through this clamp it down, holds it in place perfect. Alright, and now I'm ready to chill down. I'm going to turn my cold water on here, and we'll see what happens. So, as you can see, I got a little whirlpool arm, little whirlpool action going on here. What I've been doing is I drop my chiller in at flame out, let it sit for about 5 minutes, let the pump run for about 5 minutes, up above 200 degrees without boiling so it doesn't hurt the pump, sanitizes everything, and then after about 5 minutes, I let it go. Collect some of the first, water that runs off here, nice, super hot, great for cleaning, into a bucket. Once it gets full, I'll move that hose up here, and that's it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start my transfer now. It's been about 15 minutes. This is the all-in-one from Cuss, C-U-S-S Brewing. It's kind of the same thing as the Scylla from Jaded. So in the middle of summer with just a sink faucet and my coldest tap water, I got this from boiling to 75 in about 15 minutes. I have the SS BrewTech cooling kit for my brew bucket. I'm gonna let that do the rest of the work to get me down to about 68. I'm gonna pitch in Belgian yeast. I'm just gonna let it ride at 68, maybe let it free rise a little bit. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna start transferring, take a sample, then we're pretty much done besides cleanup. All right, our yeast is all pitched. We're in the brew bucket. Right now, I got it set for 68 degrees. We're gonna let it ride there and then probably free rise after a few days to see, to let that Belgian yeast finish out. But here we go, we got the pump working. I just kind of fill this up with cold water and change out some, frozen water bottles 2-3 times a day whenever I get around to it. It normally stays pretty cold. We start the water pretty cold, so that's that. That's brew day. Alright, so taking my hydrometer sample with the Brewing America Pro Series hydrometer. I've said it before, if you don't have one, go get one. It's great. Look nice see-through. I'm really digging this color. The lighting's not doing it justice, but right now I'm showing about 10, it'll focus, 1051, 1052-ish. With a temperature correction, these are calibrated at 60 degrees. The sample is at 77 currently. So with the temperature correction, I'm showing somewhere 1053, 1054. Great, I was shooting for 1051. So again, 2-3 points off, not gonna hurt anybody. One pack of dry yeast should be plenty for, under 1060. So we're gonna let it go. I'm gonna see what happens, and that's it. Now all that's left to do is clean up. Not my favorite part, but it's got to be done. All right, so all in all, it was a good brew day. I wanted to do a brew day recap, but at the end of the actual brew day, I was tired, I was disheveled, I was sweaty, I was a little angry. The brew day went off without a hitch. The brewing process was fine. I did break my hydrometer jar, so I was a little upset about that, so I didn't really want to film it after that, but just a little recap. Everything, went well. It was in the fermenter, no issues. So, yeah, I'll put the description of the recipe below if you want to see it. Again, it's not the most traditional Belgian ale, but I kind of work with some ingredients that I knew what I've got. I've used, the crystal hops before. I've used those 2 base malts before. I use Magnum in a lot of things to bitters, so I kind of know what those are giving me. So I was really just looking to see what the Abbey yeast was going to give me. So, again, I'll put that in the below descriptions. Again, if you want to see more of me, Burgles Brewing on Instagram. If you want to learn more about, kind of what I've been up to in the Homebrew Club, it's BrewTubers Online Homebrew Club. Go check that out. Again, link in the description below. And again, shout out and thank you to all of the sponsors of BrewTubers. We had the Beer and Wine Hobby Shop, Imperial Yeast, the newest member, Yakima Valley Hops, 5-Star Chemicals, and Brewing America. So again, if you like all those sponsors, if you need a homebrew club, you don't have one close to you, you just want to get with a bunch of guys that, sorry, the bees are crazy out here right now. You want to get with a bunch of guys that good information, good fun, that Discord keeps live, it keeps everybody entertained. So again, check us out, brewtubers.com. And yeah, I'm going to hit you back with I think I'm going to do a review on this beer when it's done. So stay tuned for that, and I might actually throw the fermentation recap video I shot the day after. I might add that to that video as well, because this was going to get too long if I added it here. So it's been fun. We'll do it again. See you on the next video.